wasn't like a big circle on the last slide as well that said recruitment was a big area that engineers go into, but I'm John, I'm also an engineer, so started in this space, I don't know, 15 years ago as a graduate engineer into a design company. So like the type of things that a lot of you guys are considering, and it's probably one of the best things about being an engineer and also still being able to contribute to the sector is that your career can go in a lot of different directions, and a lot of the time you don't think that it's going to go in the direction it does. I definitely didn't think that I would be sitting in HR teams and working in headhunting when I started out my engineering career. But I also love my career now a lot more than I did when I started in engineering. And I think that a lot of people will find that once you actually start doing the doing part of the job, that you find what you really love. And that's the most important thing, is just finding what you love. Now, I'm not going to have a slide deck. I prefer to just talk. That's part of me being a recruiter. So apologies about that. But you're going to have to listen to get the goods here. But I guess the things that I wanted to really focus on is a bit of a high-level overview of the different types of areas that I work with, but also sort of covers the market for the different types of businesses that you all could work in. So there's lots of different businesses, all shapes and sizes, but generally people fit them into buckets like startup or scale up or mid-sized business or consultancy or CDMO, which is just the design and manufacturing, the big ones. The big fish, so you've seen like big scaled organizations like your Cochlears of the world. But essentially, you can work in any of them. They've all got jobs for engineers. They've all got great jobs that you'll have great careers in, and you'll learn different things, and they're all looking for slightly different things as well. I think it's probably one of the things that it's worth thinking about when you are starting out your career. It doesn't have to be a perfect start. You don't have to go, I want to work in a CDMO. That's my desired career. You can get there via starting anywhere. But what it's important to think about is what you can learn in each different one, because you definitely learn different things. And if I start small, so I'll start with startups. Typically startups, they're operating off great ideas. They're operating off funding and investment. So the most important things to them at that early stage are really flexible people that are willing to act broadly and learn lots of different things in a broad sense, and generating great IP. So lots of innovation, lots of great new ideas. What it means is that, if you're a graduate or, a juniorish person starting into one of these businesses, is that, say you were hired as a data person, they're hiring one data person, you might expect it to be a data scientist, a data analyst, a bioinformatician, a statistician, a cloud engineer, a data engineer. You'll have to be all of those things, because there might not be anybody else that's responsible for data in the whole business. And that has to be okay. And you're going to learn awesome things, but you're going to learn a breadth of skills that's really, really applicable to being able to understand that space quite broadly. But the trade-off is probably that you don't get to go deep into any of the areas. You'll get a great fundamental understanding though, and probably the people that you'll be learning from is yourself. There'll be a lot of self-taught parts where you'll be going online and learning things, or working with AI, or you'll have mentors and advisors, but it's going to be a lot more self-taught. There will be mentors and stuff through in the business, but usually smaller organizations, less people, there's less of that, and also less time to do everything. It's super exciting. My business is a two-person business, so I get it. But you definitely learn a lot in that space. The next little step up is probably the scale-ups, and I'm going to put scale-ups and the other type of business, which is mid-sized organizations, together, because they both look for pretty similar things, and you're both going to learn pretty similar things in those types of organizations. Typically, when you're a scale-up, you've got your first customers. You're starting to deliver value. And that transition between pure innovation and really starting to understand your clients and understand what they pay you money to do starts to happen through in the business. So you start to build out little functional areas. And maybe if you were joining a team like that and you were an electronics specialist or something like that, you might have a senior electronics engineer around that you can learn from. And they might expect you to do some firmware as well. So you might not be 100%, maybe 75% electronics, and you're doing some firmware as well. But you're expected to start getting a bit narrower. They still want the flexibility. Innovation is still really important, but you're starting to get a bit more structure into how things work. I love these types of businesses. I work with lots of them, and they're, again, really great places to start learning. The final size, I'm going to say, is bigger businesses. So these businesses are more scaled up organizations. So CDMOs, these are the big fish. They've got big established functions that are able to deliver all of these specialties that they need to do to get their product from A to B. They're great businesses to learn in because say you join in as a software engineer in one of these businesses, there's 100 software engineers that work there. You've got 100 people that you can learn from. You can learn from the peers that you're working next to. You can learn from your boss's boss. You can see the tower of people that eventually I could be that role. You can see all of that very much so within your function, which is great. But it also means as a software engineer, you probably fit within a team. So you might be a digital software engineer or a apps software engineer or a embedded software engineer or a cloud software engineer, but you focus in on a particular skill set. You'll be working with people that build these skills and really care about this area. So while you might have a grad program and you might rotate around different things, you will probably be expected to start specializing in an area. Again, you'll learn great depth of experience in those environments, and all of them are fantastic to learn from. Lots of senior peers, lots of people to learn from. I think the most important thing is that they're all great places to learn from. There are so many great jobs and great businesses that you can jump in and start learning from. And none of them are better than the other. You'll just learn different things and different ways of doing things that will be relevant at different phases of a business's journey. One of the things that you will find is similar though, is some of the technical skills that we look at throughout the entire life cycle. So, one of the things that I like to do when I'm thinking about what skills do I want to build now that'll help me to get the career I want in 5 to 10 years is to start searching for jobs that I want in 5 to 10 years. If I look up grad programs, a lot of the job ads are relatively generic because we want to encourage everyone to apply because we want to pick from everyone and we want to find the best people to grow up within our organization. But, if you look at a job ad, I looked at Seek today and I saw one from Invitech. We've seen people from Invitech speaking here earlier today. They've got about 250 employees, so you can sort of fit them into the bucket that I had last. They talk about software engineering roles. They're hiring for a software engineer that has Python, C, C++, and C#. That's what they're looking for. Extra product development, they are smaller, 10 to 20 people, similar industry. So still work with Medtech and Health Tech and aligned technologies. They're hiring an embedded software engineer that should have embedded C, C++, and Python. Cochlear, which is obviously a scaled Medtech success story, over 5,000 employees. They're also hiring an embedded software engineer with, you betcha, Python, C, and C#. And what you can sort of see as you do, not pun intended, as you actually look into all of these things is that these guys are all working with embedded C, C++, C#, might not know why they're working with these languages, but they are, and they all work with Python. So if I'm, studying or trying to build skills in a particular framework that's going to help me later to move into one of these roles that I really want, those are probably places that I would start. And I know that as a person that's headhunting and using lots of keywords to find people, I'm looking for these keywords on people's I'm looking for their experience with these particular languages and frameworks because I know they're going to be relevant to all of my clients. So just doing a little bit of research into the industry that you want to end up in later, not now, like as in you want to end up in it right now, and that's great, but there's lots of time to get into the job that you're going to absolutely love. But doing a bit of research to what that actually looks like and then charting a path to get the skills to get that job is a great way to actually go about this early part of your career. And I don't mean early part in your career as in you can't have experience elsewhere. I mean early part in your journey into the medtech industry. I know that when I was at Planet Innovation, so that was where I came from, that was my first experience into the medical devices space, and I headed up talent acquisition there, got to work with some great people and hire lots of great people. But I know that I was looking for people with really translatable skill sets. They had similar skills, they might not have worked in the same industry. There's not tons of people with 10 years of experience in medical devices. So there's lots of people that you need to find and bring into the industry. But I was always looking for people that had these similar skill sets. I can actually think of one time where there was someone from a highly regulated industry. So this is a highly regulated space. There was someone, I think he was from defense, but he was 2 years into his career. He had previously been with MIME. I know MIME are here, and he'd attended some hackathons. That was enough for me to find him and know that he would have a passion about this space, and it would be worth me reaching out to him. And I was able to headhunt him out of another grad program and bring him into Planet Innovation as an associate. So finished the grad program straight in, actually working in one of Kevin's teams. So that was awesome. But it just sort of reminded me when I was thinking about that, people that build up this great base, they focus on getting the right base of experience to be able to get the job that they want, eventually end up there. Your passion will carry you there eventually, but it's really hard to get the perfect job right off the first go. Not many people are lucky enough to get it first go. But if you build that great base and you keep that passion, you keep volunteering and giving your time to the space, you will end up in it. It just takes a little bit of time. I've also hired plenty of people that were started in slightly different sectors within the same area. So heaps of people that worked in manufacturing, quality, regulatory, but moved into design because that was their passion, and that was great. And I've also helped heaps of people that were done with design. They'd worked on the front end and they'd never seen the products translate consistently into a product that goes to market. And they wanted to translate out and go, how can I actually see, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people using this product around the world, and wanted that experience. So you can start anywhere, and your passion will carry you to the areas you want to eventually end up in. But the point is, you just have to start. Once you start and you build that great foundation, those great skill sets, you'll be able to be valuable anywhere. I was actually thinking one of my clients that I'm working with right now, Andromeda Robotics, they're an aligned industry, healthcare, aged care robots, that kind of thing. C++, Python, recruiting software engineers for them right now. You're getting my trend. You build up that great base, and then you can move across into these areas, and you can still get great experiences where you might find a career that you love. The final piece is probably about the industry as a whole. You're in a great industry. One of the best things about working in medical devices is that you never have to wake up and be like, oh, am I doing the right thing? You kind of are. You know it. You wake up and you feel good about what you do. Even if you don't love your job every single day, you love your area of your job. So you just have to find the right kind of space. And you could have a career like me where you start as an engineer and you move into a completely different space. I still get to work with engineers every single day that are solving some of the biggest problems in health tech, med tech, and I absolutely love it. You could find that you start in design and you want to be a manager, and that's totally fine. And you could find that you start in manufacturing and that's your absolute dream job, and you just want to stay there forever and manufacture great products. I just think that if we get into this industry and we get more and more great people into this industry, we're going to do great things, and it's growing. There's just more and more jobs in this space. So keep building your skills, keep looking ahead to what things are going to look like. Try not to focus so much on it that you think, I have to have 1 million different AI certifications in order to be hireable. Try to think about it as, okay, then there's lots of stuff coming, but what's been done, for the last, we're a highly regulated industry. It's not going to change super fast. What's been done for a long period of time works really well. Build a great base, build lots of interesting experiences, and you're going to have a really great career.